So this is an after commentary on the whole work I've done with road rage and aggressive driving. The whole idea is to bring honor and safety to the roads in America and throughout the world. This is an international problem. England has a huge problem. The Middle East, everywhere. It's not just an American problem. I presented mostly to American media. I'll show you. So this is literally thousands of articles. I was being interviewed twice a day for a very long period of time. There's the thing. That's you? That's me, yeah. That was me back in the 90s, yeah. And then I was in textbooks. So I was talking to somebody who was in Canada, and he said, I saw your name in my textbook. He was in trucking school, so there was this trucking manual. People would just come up to me and say, I can't get away from you. You keep showing up in these media. Literally thousands of articles, many magazines. I mentioned People magazine, yeah. So it's going to start with each of those Newsweek, New York Times. I'm hoping that ties in well. So Bill Maher was introducing America's road rage therapist. Welcome, Dr. Arnold Nerenberg.
All righty, welcome to the show. Let us meet our panel. He is a clinical psychologist and America's road rage therapist, Dr. Arnold Nerenberg.
Okay. That's what I just said. Thanks for that good introduction, Bill. So long ago, it was about 25 years ago. I should mention that I ran into him about 5 years later at Toronto Airport. He didn't remember me. I said, I see so many people. He didn't remember me. But we had a good conversation. I was surprised he was very short. I forgot that he was that short because in the show, I forget. He's got such a big personality, you don't notice it. And then I found out later that the other people on that show were big stars. I didn't even know that when I was with them. Nice group of people. Yeah, I presented to a whole auditorium filled with generals. At Fort McPherson in Atlanta, Georgia. Being in a room, they were having war seminar, because we were with Afghanistan at the time. And then me, I was in there. And it was like a 4-star general, it was a 2-star general that gave me the coin. So we're looking out to promote this to some corporations. In fact, nurse practitioner Bertrand is the one he's got pretty good ideas of how to bring this out to them. For them to sign up to be on the video programs. We'll give them a free entry to it, and then they can pay later for subscriptions, small amounts of money. But there's so many people, it would add up to quite a bit. But so I was traveling all over the United States. I had a full-time publicist. The two of us would be traveling all over, renting cars, flying all over, and on my own dime. I never had a grant. I never applied for grants. Once other people pay for your stuff, then you're beholden in some way. So I just financed the whole thing, including financed my own research project of interviewing 1,500 people about it. We actually found that the key variable, whether somebody's going to become a road rager, an angry driver, was not socioeconomics or education or profession. Didn't matter whether you're a psychologist, preacher, police officer. 53% of the people would have it. As a matter of fact, when I used to give seminars on a grant from the state of California, I used to say there's 3 things going to happen. Number one, you're going to laugh a lot. Believe it or not, when people start relating their road rage incidents, how they told somebody off or flipped somebody, everybody thinks it's funny. They would really laugh. And the other thing I guarantee, when I ask how many of you have a road rage issue, an angry driving issue, over half of you are going to raise your hand. Always happened. Always got the laughs. Not because I was funny. People thought it was funny hearing about these angry drivings. And I said, and the third thing was that you're all going to agree you don't want to do it anymore. And I always delivered on all 3 promises. Now, it took me 2 years of going down the wrong road. I would say, you want to be a good citizen. You could cause harm. It could be an accident. Didn't reach anybody. When I would talk about lawsuits, some people say, I guess maybe I'll control this because I don't want to get sued. When I talked about your children more likely, because the main variable for whether you're going to become a road rager was parenting. If they see your parents doing it, you're more likely to do it. If you want to turn right, you put the signal right. You want to go left, you put it left. If somebody cuts you off, you flip them off. They just figured that's what it is to drive. They saw their parents doing that. That was the main variable. So to not have their children doing it, some would do it. But how do you reach anybody? You could give all the advice about anyone you want. Nothing reached anyone. And then I found the cure. And it's very simple. It took me years. And the media, meantime, kept interviewing me because it was a very big topic. I don't even know, not the media, I'm not even sure if they were that interested in the cure. I think they were just fascinated this was going on. It was very reportable. And you were having very spectacular instances of shootings and rammings and beatings and stabbings. And that was newsworthy. And I would come up with these things that really were not key. I'll tell you what the key thing was, how I found the cure. I thought people want to come to me for therapy for road rage. Nobody wanted to come. Why? Doc, I'm not the problem. It's those idiots. If they wouldn't be cutting me off and tailgating me and taking my parking spot and all the rest, it wouldn't be a problem. Take care of those idiots out there. You take care of them. No one was willing to say it's them. They said, it's the idiots. Someone's got to teach them a lesson. Okay. So, Doc, yeah, so nobody came to see me for treatment on road rage. They wanted me to treat all the other idiots out there. So then, after 2 years, I saw, they gave me the solution. And it's going to be so simple when I tell you. Get this. This got everybody to say, I don't want to do it anymore, without exception. Do you want to turn control over your emotions, your anger to those idiots out there? How many of you want? It's like I say. It's like letting anybody, whatever religion, race, age, 17 or 77, 107, just take control over you. You can let those idiots take control over your emotions like that. How many of you want to turn control over those idiots? Nobody raised their hand. Yes. How many want to keep the control for yourselves? 100% every time raise their hand. So that guy said, here's the thought. I refuse to allow you to control my anger ever, which became, by the way, one of the laws of honor. I refuse to allow you to control my anger ever. I say, repeat it at least 3 times a day for 2 weeks and you're cured. And of course, it's going to affect them in their other relationships. But that was the cure. Now, you would think the world would be excited by the cure, wouldn't you? You say, oh, wow, man, they discovered a cure. I mean, they would interview me about it, but it was never a big draw. There's no money in the cure. Nobody made money. Nobody made any money. The whole thing was the bloodshed, the killings, the dramatic shots, all the rest of it. That's what the thing was from the media. But really, if it wasn't for the media, it would have gotten the attention. So I can only say good things that the media at least focused the attention. I was simply the instrument at the time to go around blazing the trail. Yeah. So there was the cure. You think maybe, you think somebody might want to give me a Nobel Peace Prize. I solved road rage. Imagine people being courteous on the roads and bringing honor to the roads and respect there. It would transform civilization. Like I said, it's that Singtao Daily News in Hong Kong. Interviewed me. The only way you know it's about road rage, it has the word road rage and a picture of me. Otherwise, it's all in Chinese. Mandarin or whatever language they had it in, yeah. And then I think it was the Spielberger, something like that in Germany, and something in French, all over the world. But so now it's a revival of the whole thing. Now, I would be hired for a lot. I spent a lot of money out of my own pocket. I mean, a fortune. But I got hired for a lot of legal cases. People got road rage incidents that lawyers would hire me in a case. I thought I would get a book, a movie. That was part of my motive back then was fame and glory. I had some fame. It was money. I should say money and fame. And I kind of broke even, maybe made a little bit. Now my intention is more about bringing honor to the roads and safety to the roads. Now it's more of an altruistic, because we have the honor movement going. But at that time it was a different motive. It was like over 25 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. I had a potential book deal that they felt there wasn't enough pages in it. So all kinds of things that were possible spin-offs of it. Nothing, but now we have all these videos. I mean, I really have tests for different types of people, different angry driving problems. The 5 causes, by the way, someone slowing you down, someone endangering you, such as cutting you off or tailgating, teaching somebody a lesson like, hey, you went through that red light. People getting angry at each other. Someone's anger directed at you. And taking your parking spot. Now people kill each other. Even on Christmas Day, they'll kill you if you take their parking spot. So those are the 5 causes. I told you the cure it didn't take me long to come up with the causes. That came to me really quickly. But it took me a couple of years of doing interviews and the fact that it wasn't really a good presentation, it wasn't really put together well, the media still kept gobbling it up and interviewing me. Then I came upon the real solution to it. So then in California, I became an adjunct associate professor at San Diego State University, and there was a grant, and I would be giving seminars to Qualcomm and Red Cross and UCSD and San Diego State and UPS, the post office, just across the board. Now, the one I gave to the military, I co-authored a book called Road Rages for the American Institute for Public Safety. So I did that one. And then I gave a seminar for an auditorium full of judges. Half of them had a problem with road. I was saying, it's across the board. Over 50% of the judges would show 2 more incidents a year of being angry at other drivers on the road. I'm not just saying internally. This definition as when the other driver knows you're angry. You're retaliating by cutting him off because he cut you off. You're tailgating because he tailgated you. You slammed your brakes on because he's tailgating. You're flipping him off. You're beeping your horn. You're putting your headlights up and down. So there were 2 more times he had to give was judges, psychologists, ministers, rabbis, mullahs. It didn't matter who it is. You think certain groups would be above it? No. Nobody. It's 50. The actual number we had, interviewing 1,500 people on the streets, was 53% of Americans will show that behavior 2 more times a year. So for a while, I was calling it a mental disorder, an adjustment, a type of adjustment disorder, a more mild one. And people, I got a lot of interviews on that, and they said, well, this is a plot to build the insurance companies to treat build the insurance. It wasn't that at all. But nonetheless, I haven't kept up with the mental disorder thing. And it wouldn't have done any good anyway, because people who have the problem are not going to seek help. Didn't matter what you call it. They're not going to seek help at all. The wife may want to bring the husband in for therapy, or the husband may want to bring the wife in, but they're not going to bring themselves in. You might be driving your spouse crazy by always screaming and cutting people off and yelling. Of course, when it gets felonious, some people shooting each other, stabbing each other, ramming. The statistics then was the men were doing the shooting, the women were doing more of the ramming the other driver out of anger. So now, if you notice, we have two lovely people in our audience right now. Both are smiling and laughing. Now, the reason I'm saying it, that's what would happen. So we have Lydia and Stacy here laughing. I say, yeah, that's what happens. People laugh. It's a very interesting thing. People laugh over this. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I one time recorded the audience laughing, just hearing these stories. I just told you, women ram somebody with their cars, and both of you laughed. And this is what happened. Both of you were laughing. This is what happens. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
People laugh.
I can see it when you say it, the men doing,
Shooting.
Yeah. And then the women doing it makes sense that would.
Yeah. So Stacey's saying it makes sense. But the interesting question, and again, it's not a criticism, I'm so curious, why the laughter? Why people laugh?
People just completely lose their reason, to
Yeah.
get to that point of
Yeah, they're losing their reason. But you could say, oh, that's tragic. Oh, that's so sad. But no, people laugh.
That is interesting.
Very interesting. I really would like to do more research on why they're laughing without making people feel criticized. Hey, I'm not going to go, hey, why are you laughing? Hey, it's a serious matter. Don't laugh. I know I'm not. I don't want to do that. I just want to say, it's very interesting that you're laughing. I'm so fascinated. Please tell me why you think you're laughing. I like to do that research because, believe me, that's what happens. And I used to tell them, I did the seminars, you're going to be laughing. Oh, and it'd be just roar. People be roaring, laughing. I mean, people are dying on the roads. Now, Walt Disney in 1951 had Goofy, who was a model citizen, went to church, good family man. When he got behind the road, it became demonic. So Walt Disney captured in 1951. Do you know the first recorded road rage incident that I've ever read about was thousands of years ago? It was a Greek tragedy. I forget, it was the Iliad or one of these things where this person prophesied, told us the prince his future, that he was going to kill his father and marry his mother, and he was horrified. So he left that kingdom because he didn't want to be in that situation. So he's on the road. This is a Greek tragedy, and another chariot's coming this way, and he's coming this way, and neither one would get off the road. So he got out, and he went over with his sword, and he killed the driver and the passenger. And then he went on to his travels, and he killed him. And it turns out when he went to this new location to escape that destiny, he eventually married the queen, because the husband had died. Well, it turns out that he was really adopted by the other family. That guy he killed was really his father. He married his mother. He fulfilled the prophecy. He couldn't escape his fate. That was the thing. The Greeks had this thing about fate. But that's that's the story. That's where the whole thing, the Oedipal complex, the whole thing where it was having this thing, and then he blinded himself. It was a very big tragedy. But the point was, it was a road rage. Neither one was going to get out of the way, and out of pride, and of course we teach in the honor movement, honor before pride, he got out and killed the driver and that person. Thousands of years ago. On chariots. Now, the psychology of it is this. This is what I came up with. Enshrined within the human psyche is an urge to release our aggression on anonymous others when we feel justified. Enshrined within the human psyche is an urge to release our aggression on anonymous others when we feel justified. What happens in war? These are the bad guys. I don't know the guy. You feel justified killing him. It's like a road. You don't know each other on the road. You don't know the guy. You release your aggression on him. It's sort of like a variation of Dirty Harry. Make my day. He's got the gun. Just give me an excuse to shoot you. That mentality. So there's a thing to release that aggression that way. Now, in the way of honor, we put honor before anger, honor before pride, honor before sex, honor before money, honor before fear, honor before everything, before life itself. So it's antithetical to our way. But the psyche, to do that, to justify, to release that aggression on others, and feel justified. People justify it for all kinds of reasons. Hey, you looked at my girlfriend like that? Wham! He insulted me. He justified. He looked at his girlfriend. So that's what's happening. People want to justify their anger. People want to justify any kind of thing they do anyway. So that's the story about some of the background thing, expanding from the 3 minutes that we have on that one. So it's going to be 2 videos. It'll be that one with 2 different titles. This one that'll go on the therapy, and we'll also have it on honormovement.org. And then the promo, we'll put the promo also. It's a promo. That's fine. Okay, I'm going to open it to comments and questions. Let's see. Jay, you have any comments or questions?
Well, Doctor, I watched the videos myself, so I know that the power that they have and the power of your words, what they mean as far as road rage goes, because the vast majority of us have experienced that at least once in our lifetime. So as you work your way through it, and we just learn to calm down and deal with it with honor, it certainly makes it in my case, made it go away.
Really, you had an issue before, Jay?
Yeah. Yeah. I had a lot of issues with people not doing things as quickly as I wanted them to.
Yeah, slowing you down was one of the causes. Yeah, that was one of the causes. Yeah. It's funny, I became the expert on this, and most things I'm an expert on, I have an issue myself. That's how I became an expert. But I don't have this issue. I do. When people do stupid things, I've done so many stupid things myself. I figure, wow, I never take it as deliberate because I've done so many mistakes. So I just figure the other guy's making a mistake. I never see the delivery cutting me off, the delivery trying to have it out for me. Funny story. I was once on my way to a radio show on road rages, and this is a true story. It's almost unbelievable. I was on my way to this road rage interview. Might have been on Kiss FM with John and Ken. I forget who it was. I was on so many shows. I'm pulling out of the driveway of my building. I didn't even come near this guy. He pulls up ahead, and he looks at me, and I'm coming down like I'm somehow a threat to him by my car. Pulls up ahead. I come up behind him. He gets out of his car. Now, at that time, I was trying to get a sign of apology because we found if you apologize, 60% of the people get over it. Not everybody, 60%. So I was trying to develop this sign. I was trying to get into DMV handbook. It didn't happen. It would be this. So when he saw me like that, I went like this. Maybe he thought it was an obscene gesture. I went like that. And so he got out of the car, and he stood there. I stayed in my car. But I encountered a road rage that could have turned deadly on my way to be interviewed on road rage. That's a true story. Yeah. And right in front of my building here, right on Painter Avenue here. And then I remember he was going. And then I think I went up ahead of him because he had stopped. I went ahead of him. And I called my secretary. I said, can people track down the owner of a vehicle from my license plate? So then I turned off the side street. And then I turned down Wardman. Then I went over to Beverly. And by the time I got to Beverly, he was there. I was like something out of a movie. And that guy was there. And
He didn't say anything?
no, he saw I was not interested in fighting him. I didn't accommodate him. He was inviting me to a fight. He couldn't give me a call. I challenged you to a duel. It was practically like that. It didn't go any further, but I was paranoid that he could trace who I am over nothing. But people shoot each other over these things. They stab each other, whatever. But the irony was I was on my way to be interviewed on road rage, and I told the story to the guy interviewing me. He could hardly believe it. I said, yeah, this really happened on my way here. Probably the worst one I've been involved in. The other one was involved, my wife and I were going to go on the I-10 from Santa Monica. And a lady behind us kept beeping the horn, but we couldn't move because cars were in front of us. So my wife goes like this, like, what do you want? So he kept beeping again. My wife goes, how are you? So the woman pulled aside of us. We have our baby in the back seat in infancy, pulls out a gun, points it, and then some older lady that pushes her hand down, and they cut in front of us and go. But here's a crazy story. I did an interview saying, I said to people, what percentage of the people you think carry a loaded gun in your car? Nobody knows, right? But if you had to guess, some people say 50, some 75, some 10. Well, the average number that people felt were armed in their cars was 35%. So the average number that people thought 35% of the people are armed in their cars. So you would think if 1/3 of the people are armed, that's what you think. I'm not saying it's true. Why would you flip somebody off? And you think there's a 1/3 probability you can get the guy's got a gun. People don't do it anyway. This goes outside of all reason and logic. They're all worthwhile, honorable things to die for. This is not one of them. This is not one of them. But people die for it. That's why I called it a mental disorder. It's a very unique type of adjustment disorder. When you're willing to die, it's that dysfunctional a phenomenon. And people feel really disrespected. You did that to me. Yeah, the guy was in a rush. Maybe Maybe his wife just had a heart attack. You don't know what it is. You did that to me. Oh. And he goes beside him, curses at him, follows him to a gas station, beats him up, shoots him, stabs him. I mean, so there's a lot of energy behind this. And I think that's why the media came out so much, because they, look, anytime you get on a freeway, Southern California, there's always a collision somewhere. Always, and people are rubbernecking, looking, whatever. And it turns out that 2/3 of the deaths on the roads are due to aggressive driving. NHTSA and in Washington, D.C. did that survey. 2/3. As a matter of fact, when I gave that, you know why the Army had me come out and do the seminar on road rage and aggressive driving? At that time, we were losing more military men due to aggressive driving than in combat. Yeah, at that time, we were losing more soldiers due to aggressive driving than in combat. In fact, I'll tell you something right now for every one of you. The most dangerous thing you'll ever do is not jumping out of a plane with a parachute or going skiing. The most dangerous thing you'll ever do is get in your car. Most dangerous thing you'll ever do. That's the truth of it.
And it feels dangerous too, you know. Even just coming over here, I could think of, just bumper to bumper traffic and people still swerving and speeding to go one car, and you just go, wow, wow.
Yeah.
It's scary, actually.
When you really think about it, but we're so used to it that we just live with this, It's much more dangerous than the IEDs, and when so many people have had their legs blown off, whatever. But you look at how many people had their legs ripped off, their heads ripped off from this. I mean, so-called civilians. Okay, Tracy, any comment or question about this?
Yes, actually, when you were speaking, you answered my question, because my question was going to be, have you ever had road rage? But you said you didn't have that problem.
Never. I don't even get road annoyance. Road annoyance is you mumble to yourself, son of a gun. You're just talking to yourself. It's not road rage. I don't even do that.
I used to have, I guess I would say, road annoyance, or maybe slight road rage. Not really, but I learned it from my parent.
Which one? Which parent did you learn from? Oh, you don't have to say. Okay. That's anonymous. A parent.
A parent,
yeah.
And they thought it was, okay, if someone cut them off, just speed up, just to flip the bird and roll down the window and say it real loud.
Yeah.
You stupid BI, this, that, and the other.
Hey, it doesn't matter if the guy's 80 years old. There's no respect for the elders, or a man saying it to a woman. It's no respect. There's no gentlemanly about it. There's no respect of age. It's nothing. Whoever it is, speak unbelievable words to that person.
Even saying, racist things.
Oh yeah. They feel justified to say any horrible thing because they feel it anonymous. See, they think they're anonymous.
Blank and just blank out of the way, and pay attention and blah blah blah. And so when I first started driving, I would kind of do that just a little bit, and I thought, you know what, I'm like stressing myself out.
Yeah.
So I don't need to do that.
So you stopped over common sense, but you see, the parenting, that was the key factor. Yeah.
Just by being alert, you can kind of see what's happening all over the road, and when someone kind of cuts me off or whatever, it's kind of like a gentle, oh, okay, whatever. I'm not like, I'll just be like, oh, that was crazy, just to myself.
Yeah. Well, that's a very different story than yeah. But you were able to stop yourself at a young age. A lot of people don't do that. But you got it from a parent, and that was our findings. You get it from a parent or both parents, but usually a parent. Yeah, that's exactly how it happens. It's not. You would think rich people don't do it, or you think somebody in a Rolls Royce doesn't do it. Doesn't matter. It wasn't education level. It wasn't socioeconomics. Now, younger people, older people do as much as do it, same percentage have it. But when younger people do it, they do it more frequently. Yeah, but the percentage of younger people that do it is the same as older people. Just when they do it, it's more frequently. Yeah, it was very interesting research. We did it here in Southern California and in Oregon. We had 2 research things going on. Yeah. Good, Tracy. Good going. Yeah. Kimberly, any comments or questions?
Yes, I do. So, I was going to tell you that I had a bad experience with, because I have a lot of road rage. And I think after that, oh my gosh, I think I just stopped everything. So I was on the road, and this car cut me off a couple times, and it started honking. And I don't know if the car behind me was with that car, but I guess the car behind me got so mad at me that he started tailgating me, putting his highlights. And I live in the high desert, so I was going through hills, and it was dark. So he was like thinking it back and forth, just highlighting, just tailgating me, honking, and that scared me so much.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I ever did that again, because now I'm traumatized. Like, maybe it was a good thing. Maybe God.
Oh, it was a good thing. Yeah, but if it stopped you, if it stopped,
it could have been worse.
Yeah. No, that was a blessing. That was a blessing that they did that. They taught you a good lesson. You should be grateful to that person. They taught you a good lesson. Might have saved your life.
Exactly. So that's what I thought about it, because I used to always be like you said, I'm not going to give them control over my anger, my emotions, and all this stuff. That
was the cure. That's the cure. That's what took me years to find. Yeah, it took me years to find. I wrote a little pamphlet. I don't have it with me right now, and it was these things about courtesy and that's it. And the people liked it. The media liked it. It was just totally ineffective. It sounded good. It was completely ineffective. This was the cure. This was effective. The thing that sounded good and reasonable, no impact at all in the real world. So you hear some people talk about put some calming music on. Well, why would these guys put calming music on? They don't have a problem in their mind. Why am I going to put a calming music on me? I got to teach that guy a lesson. That son of a gun did this and that. Why do I need calming music? So all these tips are only for reasonable people who don't do that. So all the tips, take a deep breath, put on this nice music, all sounds good, all useless. It can get you killed, useless. Yeah, because people think 35% of people are armed. You get them killed. They read about it. They see it they see it on TV. This guy got killed. That person got killed. Doesn't stop it. That's what we were doing until I found the cure. I would love, hopefully corporations will come on board. And one of the motives why they'll do it is to cut down their litigation exposure, because they are getting sued over it. So I'm hoping the financial motive will motivate them to. And then the other part is the good PR for the public. We care, and they care about our employees, even though the main motive is it's expensive. And when your guy cuts people off or shoots somebody or stabs somebody or, involved in some kind of angry, aggressive driving, you get sued for millions of dollars, many millions. Yeah. Well, in that case, it was $400 million. The case I was in, and the state of California paid me a lot of money to be an expert witness on their side. Yeah. Thanks for that feedback, Kimberly, and congratulations on not being a road rager anymore. We got to thank that guy that threatened the heck out of you.
Yeah, he probably saved my life. So, because I had so much road rage, and now I'm afraid to say anything or honk my horn.
Now, do you still have road annoyance? Do you go and do you curse the guy out under your breath?
Yes.
Oh, that's road annoyance.
Now, I'm so scared that now I don't think I even do that. I used to do that, and now
he scared the anger out of you. Okay, that's productive fright. That's productive fright. Yeah. So you don't even curse him under your breath. Yeah. Does anybody else have anything? Lydia, anything? What are your thoughts and observations?
I can't help but to just think where I live, but it was kind of very surprising to me to move to LA, particularly Glendale, and to see the driving culture.
So you see the driving culture in Glendale was very aggressive?
Yes, and I also noticed after living there for some time and then driving in other areas, I started to realize I adapted some of those habits, like speeding, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh
but
my
you don't
gosh.
flip people. You don't flip people
No,
off.
I don't
So that's not angry driving. But it is part of aggressive driving. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. New York City it's common, but usually they don't get out of their cars. But it was common. But in L.A., I mean, what really popularized it, brought to attention when people started getting shot over it. That's really brought to attention. But that's not the main danger. The main danger, you beep your horn because you're angry at somebody. Some people turn around and it's a collision. It's really a distraction that's more dangerous. Very few people get shot. But, yeah, maybe.
When you blow the stop sign and almost hit a pedestrian and don't.
Yeah, but that's not even angry driving. That's just, that's a part of aggressive driving. But yeah. So now you watch the production, behind the scenes production of Road Rage video, bringing honor and safety to our roads. It's been my pleasure to be here with you.